When I was growing up, I was going through a certain form of child abuse, and I had no idea. I actually didn't learn it until last year at 28 years old.
Children can be easily manipulated by one parent into hating and fearing their other parent. This is child abuse. This is domestic abuse by proxy. This is called parental alienation. But it is possible to fight. Adult children do wake up to reality. Alienated parents do get their children back.
There were so many things that I felt uncomfortable about, but I didn't know it wasn't normal, and I certainly didn't know it was abuse. There were a lot of things that my parent did, said, made me believe that I never questioned. It's important to question things. Make sure that you're living in reality. If you do have a difficult relationship with one or both of your parents, if anything, you can watch this video to make sure that you've grounded your decisions regarding your parents in truth. I'm going to go through right now a list of things that I thought were normal growing up that actually are really not normal. After my parents' divorce, I was made to believe that I had one good parent and one bad parent. That's not normal. Throughout the past 2 decades, my good parent would badmouth my bad parent with me, in front of me, with other people in front of me, and this included name calling, constant criticizing, and it rubbed off on me to the point where I would sometimes engage with her. When my quote-unquote good parent was trash-talking my quote-unquote bad parent, I got the strong sense that they enjoyed it if I participated. And during that time, I didn't know better. I didn't see this as abnormal. But now, as a parent and an adult, I know that this is really unhealthy. Parents have a duty to their children to keep them safe, loved, protected, cared for. When your parent displays hatred for your other parent in front of you, they are negatively affecting your perception of your other parent, and they're destroying your relationship with your other parent. A healthy, loving parent would not do this. Even if you did have a bad, terrible parent, the healthy, loving parent would not enforce this. In fact, they would try to protect you from knowing the bad things the parent has done. They would protect you from feeling unloved and unwanted. The other thing is that for a parent to want their child to join in and say bad things about their parent, to join in on that conversation, for a parent to enjoy talking bad about the child's parent with the child, that's spreading a sense of hatred to the child and encouraging this dialogue that is full of anger and spite. And no healthy parent wants to foster anger, resentment, or fear in their child. I know it might feel normal for you. It felt normal for me, certainly, but now I know how dysfunctional that really is. If my daughters came to me talking in a negative way about anyone, I would listen to them, of course, and hear what they have to say, but I would not engage in that conversation with them. I would not continue to talk negatively about anyone with them. It's not a healthy example to show your child. It's not healthy behavior, especially when it's your other parent. Does your good parent badmouth your bad parent? The second one is, do you call your bad parent by their first name? That's a common thing that I think a lot of kids in this situation will do, is call their parent by their first name. Whether or not the parent has pressured them to do this or told them to do this, In calling your parent by their first name, it's a subconscious way to distance yourself from your parent, removing the title of mom or dad. It's a way that you can feel like you're in control and that you can kind of, you say, like, you're not acting like my mom or my dad, or I don't believe that you are worthy of being my mom or my dad. Has your good parent told you about legal issues that they've had, court battles, or issues that they had in their marriage to your bad parent? I remember being 9 years old and knowing so many things that I'd been told by my good parent regarding their marriage, and really scary, horrific things that I believed were true, of course. Why would my parent lie about them? And I've later realized, after talking to other family members and actually finding documents and confronting certain people, that I believed stories for 20 years that were not true. Now, I'm not necessarily saying this is your experience if you're in this situation, but I do want to point out that healthy-minded parents are going to make a point not to involve their children in the drama. This is really an important point. Healthy-minded parents are actually going to shield their children from knowing about anything related to court cases, or legal issues, or any type of fighting or other problems they've had in the marriage. Everything in the marriage should be contained. And if they have kids, the children are not part of the marriage. The marriage is part of the family, but the children should not be involved in the marriage. If you feel like you've been put in the middle by your parents, by one or both of your parents, I'm sorry. That's not okay. That's not normal. I remember being put in the middle constantly, even before my parents got divorced, and then after that. It's not okay. It's not normal. Have you expressed a desire to change your last name? Does your good parent prefer you to stay with them always? I mean, I thought this was totally normal growing up. Like, I just felt almost happy that they wanted to spend time with me. But it's not. I'm a mother now. I realize the importance of having a father, for sure. And normal parents will want their child to have both parents equally involved in their life. Normal parents will not want you to stay away from your other parent unless there is legitimate cause for concern. Has your good parent told you that your bad parent doesn't love you anymore? I was told this from a very young age, and it lasted for 20 years. I didn't question it, because if that wasn't true, then that meant that my mom was telling me a painful lie. For what reason? Whether or not you do believe that that's true, if your parent has told you that, I need you to know that it's very, very unhealthy for one parent to tell their child that their other parent doesn't love them. Whether or not that's true, here's a scenario. Imagine that you have a child and their father is telling them, your mom doesn't love you. Your mom has left us. Your mom doesn't care about you. Imagine it is true and the mom doesn't love the child and has actually left the family. I can tell you, as a parent, as an adult, even if that's true, for the dad to tell the child that is wrong. It's harmful, hurtful, wrong. In fact, what a normal, loving father would do in that situation, imagine the mother really doesn't love the child, really doesn't, really has left them. What the father would do instead, a normal, healthy father, is they would protect the child from ever believing that or ever doubting their mother's love. They would say things like, oh honey, mommy does love you. I'm sorry she left. I'm sorry she's not here. I'm sorry it's so confusing. She loves you. She will always love you, though. They would try to make the child feel secure and loved no matter what, even if the parent actually doesn't love the child. In a lot of situations, however, they will tell their child this lie, believe it or not. And that's what happened with me. I've talked to a lot of other people now that has happened to them. I'm not saying that's what happened to you if you're watching this video, but it's worth challenging. Remember the critical thinking I said at the beginning of this episode? It's worth challenging just to make sure that you've made the right decisions, grounded in reality. If you're going to cut a parent out of your life, you want to make sure 100% that you're doing it justifiably. Do you feel dependent on your good parent? Do you feel like you need them? Do you feel like you need them to survive? Do you feel like you would be lost without them? Do you have to ask them for their opinions and their thoughts on things in order to feel like you can make decisions? And about the dependency issue, do you feel like your parent likes that you're dependent on them? This is something that I thought was normal for a while, and as I got older, like teenage years, I started realizing that I really didn't like feeling that way. I certainly started to dislike that my parent liked me to be dependent on them. But I think that has to do with becoming an adult. As I got older, I wanted more independence. I wanted more freedom to make my own choices. I wanted respect for my own beliefs, my own values. I wanted to be able to make my own decisions in life and have my own ideas. And my parent really hated that. I had to fall in line. They wanted me to be a little mini me, and I began to feel disgusted by that. So I guess I kind of figured this one out on my own. But for people watching, children at a young age are naturally dependent on their parents to survive. This is just true. I have 2 little girls. They're toddlers. They need me to feed them. They need me to dress them. They need me to survive 100%. Now, once you get older and you're 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, or heck, even older than that, it's hard. It's sometimes hard for parents to give their children more independence and realize that, oh, my baby is grown up. But for healthy parents, what they do is they try to prepare their children for the real world. Maybe part of them wants their children to be close to them and wants their children to always need them for things, but they will not sacrifice their child's development and preparedness for existing in society, thriving in society, in order to feel needed by their child. So normal parents will teach their children all about finances and money and how to handle money. Normal parents will not do everything for their child so far as college applications or doing their homework for their child. Or normal parents will teach their children about the real world, and then when it's time to go to college or when it's time to leave the house, normal parents will be encouraging and happy for the children. Sure, they will be sad at the same time. It's a new chapter of life. It's sad to see your children go. Of course, you love your children. But they won't try to foster a sense of dependence. Does your good parent ever give you the silent treatment? This was a hallmark of my teenage years, especially. I got the silent treatment all the time, sometimes a day, sometimes more than that. And I think the silent treatment is a way to tell your child, you don't matter. You don't matter right now. I don't care what you think or what you have to say. You don't deserve my attention. It's really harmful It's more harmful than a lot of people realize. And healthy parents don't give their children the silent treatment. This especially is one thing that I believed was so normal, and it's not. Do you feel forced to choose between your parents? It might feel as though, all kids who go through divorce have to deal with that. They don't. There is such a thing as an amicable divorce. Not all divorces are just full of hatred and anger and vitriol. Most healthy parents are not going to want their child to lose a relationship with their other parent. Does your good parent ever ask you to collect information or even spy on your bad parent? Piggybacking off that, if you spend time with your bad parent and when you get back home to your good parent, do they ask you tons of questions, detailed questions, maybe about what you've done with them, what they've said, or things about if you have a step-parent, everything about your step-parent? It's normal for parents who are divorced to ask questions about your time with the other parent and what you did and whether you had fun and things of that sort. But there are other questions that are certainly not normal. Like, did your parent say anything bad about me? It's also not normal for one parent to ask you to spy on the other parent. And I'll tell you why. Not only are they putting you in the middle when they ask you to spy about the other parent, but they're asking you to be deceitful. Healthy-minded parents are not going to ever put their child in a position to be deceitful or encourage them to be deceitful. It's destructive that one parent would do that. And then also they're putting you in the position where you feel like your other parent is your enemy. If you have to spy on them, they must be up to something wrong. It's not okay. Does your good parent ever become filled with rage and lash out at either you or your bad parent, or maybe some siblings? Listen, I know it's normal for moms to lose their cool sometimes, but if it's a common pattern for your parent to lash out, throw what seems like a temper tantrum, scream, yell, fight, even throw things or leave the house, these reactions are not okay. They will make any child feel unsafe, and they'll leave that child with their head spinning about, what did I do wrong? How can I avoid this happening again? Filled with feelings like guilt for causing this hurt in their parent and shame for not being good enough for their parent. And it's a really, really unhealthy thing for a parent to do. Emotions are normal. Strong emotions even are normal, especially in these high conflict situations. But what's not normal is to express that in front of your child or to your child. When your bad parent tries to contact you, does your good parent interfere? Do they try to stop you from talking to them? Or do they interrupt the call? Do they ever take your phone away? On holidays or special occasions like Christmas and birthdays and Thanksgiving, does your good parent prefer that you spend all of your time with them? Do they keep you longer than you were supposed to? Or do they let you just skip out on seeing your other parent sometimes? You might think this is normal, especially with all the beliefs you have about your bad parent. But in actuality, healthy, loving parents, they want their child to be able to see their other parent equally. Maybe deep down they do have a selfish desire to be with you all the time. I think if you can't see your child as much as you would being married, it must be difficult for any divorced parents. I can't even imagine. It must be so difficult for any divorced parents to not be able to see their child the whole time on Christmas. That would really, really suck. At the same time, healthy-minded parents will recognize that, hey, they will have a good time at their other parent's house. I will miss them, but they need to spend that amount of time with their other parent because having both parents in your life is really important. So normal, healthy parents will be able to put their selfish desires aside and encourage you to go with your other parent and the extended family because it is so important to be connected with both parents and both sides of the family. When your good parent is mad at you, do they call you by your bad parent's name? Or do they say that you're acting like your bad parent? This is something that happened to me a lot. My mom would call me my dad's name whenever she was mad at me. And given that I believed these terrible things about my dad, it was one of the worst insults she could have given me. So I thought that was very hurtful. But now I know it's not only hurtful, it's manipulative, it's cruel. It is so messed up, not normal at all. So if this is something you've experienced, I would like to say sorry. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that that's something that you've had to experience. That to me may be one of the biggest red flags that you are experiencing something that I have experienced for 20 years, which is called parental alienation. Does your good parent share their emotions with you almost like you were their best friend? This describes my relationship with my mom perfectly. She wanted me to be her confidant, her best friend, her therapist, and for a long time I played all of those roles. I didn't really know it was abnormal until I got older. I did feel a little angry at times and overwhelmed by that role in my life, and I never liked it, but I didn't know it was abnormal. It certainly is abnormal. I'm a mother. I know that your children are not your friends. Your children are not your therapists. Your children are not your emotional caretaker, your emotional trash bag. Your children are your responsibility. You are their teacher. You are their emotional caretaker. And to put your child in the position of handling your emotions, taking care of you emotionally, it's putting everything upside down. Your parents should make a point to shield you from their emotions. In a lot of cases, your parents should really make a point to protect you from their emotions, especially if it has to do with your other parent. It's a burden that no child deserves, to be aware and responsible for managing their own parents' emotional state. It's exhausting. It makes you grow up way too fast, and it puts a lot of guilt and shame and pressure on the child. Has your good parent ever asked you to keep certain information secret? And maybe they don't ask you in that way, but maybe they say, please don't tell anybody. Please don't tell your siblings. This is just between me and you. Secret keeping is not something that healthy parents encourage. This goes back to the being a spy on your other parent. Healthy-minded parents are not going to encourage their children to be deceitful, because they want their children to grow up to be healthy-minded too. And to be deceitful is not something, it's not a good characteristic, it's not a healthy way of being. Not normal, red flag. Has your good parent ever encouraged you to ask for money, clothes, or other material items or perks from your bad parent? Do you get the sense that they want your bad parent to pay for things instead of them? This is just straight up manipulation. It's really wrong to put the child in the middle in order to get out of paying for certain things, or it's using the child and it's using the other parent to escape a financial burden, a financial responsibility. It's not normal. It's really not normal. And lastly, has your good parent told you the same stories over the years about why your bad parent is unsafe or dangerous? Are these stories events that you actually witnessed yourself, or are they secondhand information? If some of this resonates with you, first of all, I'm really sorry. You deserve a healthy-minded parent who will not put you in the middle, who will not manipulate you, who will respect you for your own individual personality, beliefs, opinions. I want you to know there's something called parental alienation. I figured this out last year. It has been the hardest thing I've had to go through. Parental alienation is when one parent basically turns their child against their other parent. And they do this because they're mad at the other parent. They hate the other parent, so they're trying to hurt the other parent by taking away their relationship with their child. They also do this because they want the child all to themselves, and they want to isolate the child from the other parent, and a lot of the time, other people as well. It's actually a form of child abuse, but in learning the truth, I've been able to change my life and change myself in a lot of ways for the better. I have a lot of videos on parental alienation, but I would really encourage you to seek a therapist who knows what parental alienation is. I would encourage you to talk to who you believe is your bad parent and ask them for their side of the story. And they might surprise you with what they say, but more than anything, I would encourage you to continue to be a critical thinker. It's a shame that not all parents have their children's best interest at heart. I wish that were true. Some do not. It's a painful pill to swallow. That doesn't mean your parent doesn't love you. That doesn't mean your parent doesn't care about you. It just means that they're selfish. All these behaviors that I listed here, they really are unhealthy and damaging for the child. I hope at the very least this has been able to give you a little insight into the type of relationship you do want with your parents. Just because you're the child doesn't mean that you have to put up with the way your parents are treating you. There is help out there, there are resources out there, and there is hope. There is hope, a lot of hope. You can really build a wonderful life that you love, no matter the hand you've been dealt at the beginning of your life and which parents you've been given. I hope this gives some people some clarity, or maybe helps you understand a little bit about yourself. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave it down below in the comments. And if you suspect that you've experienced this in the past or that you're experiencing this now, I'm so sorry. You're not alone. You're not alone. There are a lot of kids, teenagers, young adults who have also experienced this. And that's why I have this channel, because I think it needs to be talked about a whole lot more. There's really so many issues surrounding this topic. But yeah, I'm going to be making more videos for the children going through it. So I hope that I can be able to help some kids on their path to recovery. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it was a little bit dark and depressing, but this is the reality of it, and the first step is to wake up to what's happening. Please leave any questions down below in the comments, any thing you might have to add. It always generates a thoughtful discussion, which I love. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.